hi everyone at home, and hi everyone here. I'm Karen Craigo doing the talk this morning. And it's Flag Day, so, and the president thinks it's his birthday, so that's the big holiday, but it's Flag Day, so that's what I'm observing today. And also a lot of us enjoyed Pride yesterday downtown, and that was fantastic for our church and just interacting with people and seeing all the beautiful people with all their beautiful expressions. That seemed like a good time to talk about flags. So those two things happening. So the title of my talk is Let Your Freak Flag Fly. So first, to get us oriented, let's look at some flags. Right now I'll have you turn, got a little PowerPoint here. So we're going to look at some flags. So first off, you probably recognize this one. This is our first American flag. It's supposedly designed by Betsy Ross, right? But she didn't design it. She was the sewer, seamstress. Yeah.
So who gets the credit?
Let me see. I got that in my notes. Well, she gets the credit, right? But the person who did it was Francis Hopkinson, a.k.a. Some Man. So, I don't know why the U.S. flag turned out so blurry, but it seems right. This is our flag today. 13 stripes. The last one, of course, had the 13 stripes and 13 stars representing the original colonies. Whoops.
What was that Hopkinson's first name?
Francis, with an I. And now we've got 50 states, so 50 stars, and the original 13 colonies. So that everything in the flag is a symbol. The red, white, and blue are symbols. Look at this. This is the old Canadian flag, which I think is an interesting thing to look at. The new one that we know was adopted in 1965, and before that, this was the Union Jack of the UK. This is called the Red Ensign, and it's the shield there represents the coats of arms of England, Scotland, Ireland, and the Kingdom of France. And below that, you see 3 maple leaves. Remember, the maple leaf is the next flag that we get. And these are both red and gold to represent the leaves in the fall, which are a symbol of Canada. But here, do we all agree this is a much more pleasing flag design? Direct, because the white, interestingly, is exactly twice the red, so it's double the size, and it's got the 11 pointed maple leaf. Those 11 doesn't mean anything special. In 1965, when they adopted this, they actually did wind tunnel experiments to see what showed up best and when it was moving. And they tried a 13 point for a while, but this is the 11 point maple leaf. Maple leaf is a symbol of Canada. The white represents snow, and the red represents those beautiful maple leaves. So, here's another familiar flag. Recognize that?
Yep, everybody does.
Yeah, Japan. It's called Nishoki, the flag of the sun, popularly known as Shinomaru, the ball of the sun. And Japan is the land of the rising sun. The Emperor of Japan is said to be a direct descendant from a Shinto goddess of the sun named Amaterasu. So the sun on the flag first appeared in the year 701, much older flag than our Canadian 1965 flag. And some of you might recognize this Japanese war flag. You can kind of see the rays emanating from the sun suggest a desire for stretching out their empire, expansion, absolutely. And they still use the maritime look. It looks the same, but it's tilted off to the side. This is their maritime self-protection flag. Just getting us thinking about flags here. Anybody know what country this is from? This is Bhutan. This, have some notes on it here. The dragon in the middle is the Dragon King of Bhutan. He's holding jewels, and the colors are important. The dragon's white, purity of inner thoughts and deeds that unite all the ethnically and linguistically diverse peoples of Bhutan. The jewels represent wealth, security, and protection. And the dragon is snarling to show he's willing to protect the people of Bhutan. The yellow, the orange signifies Buddhist tradition, and the yellow, usually when you see yellow or gold, it signifies wealth and abundance. So I just think that's a nice looking flag. I wanted to share that. Anybody know which flag this is? The only one, the only flag in all the countries that's not a rectangle. This is the flag of Nepal. The two triangles represent the mountains of Nepal. You know that Nepal is where, I think it's where Everest is, right, the Himalayas. And they also represent the two religions of Hinduism and Buddhism. They have celestial bodies, the moon and the sun. The moon shows supposedly the peace and purity of spirit of the people, and the sun shows the fierce resolve and bravery. And up until what year? 1962, these had human faces on them too, the sun and the moon, which I thought was cool. The color red, the color of the rhododendron, the national flower of Nepal, stands for bravery, and the blue border stands for peace and harmony. This is significant. Every part of the flag has symbolic importance. Every color is not chosen just because it's a pretty color, but because it means something important to people. Here's an interesting flag. Anybody know which country this is? It's in Africa. This is the Rwandan flag. The top, the widest band. Usually when you have a tricolor flag, they're all the same. That's why Canada was kind of interesting with the bigger middle white portion. Usually they're all the same if you think of France or India or Ireland with the tricolor flags. But here we've got a bigger blue part. It's the sky, represents the sky. It's got that icon off to the pole is on this side. It's unusual to have a symbol off to the right. If you think of the American flag, the stars are on the left. They usually, something like that usually isn't on the waving outer side. The golden sun, 24 rays, stands for enlightenment, transparency, and a fight against ignorance. And sky, yellow, represents wealth, right, gold, and green, nature. So, but look at this. It's the old flag of Rwanda. Is this a good flag? I think they made an improvement, don't you think? The R stands for Rwanda, but it also stands for some other things, revolution and referendum. Why did they need to put an R on it? Because this is the same tricolor flag of the nation of Guinea. So they had to show that they were Rwanda. This is a good example of a bad flag. That's not, you're starting to get a feel for this, right? Certain flags, they just really embody what people are all about. And this it has a big R to show you it's Rwanda. It's kind of a failure of a flag. Here's Papua New Guinea. I love this one. It's got the bird of paradise. That's the Southern Cross constellation that you can see all the time there. Colors have significance. That's our bird of paradise. And that's the Southern Cross constellation. So that they chose symbols that were really meaningful for them. Let's look at this. This is the original Pride flag. Let's see. I have to tell you about that. The original Pride flag has two colors you don't see on the rainbow flag that we see now, right? Which ones? The hot pink and the turquoise. Let's see, I'm all mixed up here. These colors all stand for something. The hot pink, sexuality. Red, life. Orange, for healing. Yellow stands for sunlight. Green, for nature. turquoise for magic and art, indigo for serenity, and violet for spirit. Well, guess what? All these colors make for a more expensive flag to design. So this is a little background. This pride flag came out in 1978. Harvey Milk asked people to design a pride flag in San Francisco, and activist Gilbert Baker made this. This is the Gilbert Baker flag. And he thought the movement, the gay rights movement, needed something more uplifting than symbols that were associated with persecution. So he wanted a symbol of hope. What I was saying about Christ, this is the seven stripe flag, still retains turquoise, but sexuality is off the table. the pink stripe that stood for sex is gone. And now this is the one we use today, and the magic is gone, the turquoise element's gone. But this is a beautiful symbol that we see all over the Pride celebration. Now we've also got this one. This is called the Progress Pride flag. I want to call it the proper name. You can see it's put black and brown to show intersectionality, because the struggle for rights is kind of similar for people of color. And we've got trans people are represented with the trans flag colors of pink and baby blue. And that white triangle showing forward motion. It's an arrow. It says we're moving ahead. This one came about in 2018. So there are other flags too. I'm not representing them all. This is, do you know which flag this is? Lesbian flag, lesbian pride. And I saw some people with this, and I queried yesterday. They said, do you know what the colors represent on there? And I didn't know at the time, but I knew they represented something, because flags always do. I looked it up after. Nobody really knew what these colors represented. They're very specific, always the same. Dark orange, gender nonconformity. Orange, independence. Light orange, community. White, unique relationships to womanhood. Light pink, serenity and peace. And dusty medium pink, love and sex. I seem to have an extra color on here, but that's... Oh, dark rose pink is femininity. I just needed to turn the page. And here's our transgender pride flag, created in 1999. Light blue, of course, associated with boys, and light pink associated with girls. And then white represents non-binary identity for people who are transitioning or exploring identity. And the significant thing here is this flag is the same no matter how you turn it. Pride, top down or bottom up. So there are a lot of other pride flags. Bisexual, non-binary, pansexual, straight ally, genderqueer, intersex, tons and tons. And we saw a bunch of them yesterday. Saw people with t-shirts and saw like little face painting versions, and people kind of rallied behind their flag. Their flag showed they were part of a community with shared identity and values, and they also were able to, as an individual, say like, I'm this is who I am. And I think that's meaningful to people. Okay, done with the slide part. So Brenda here is helping me with my camera work. So let's just jump right in. I didn't want to go back and forth, but I thought we should have some flags kind of in line. So this week we find ourselves between the celebrations of Flag Day, a lot of interesting happenings at the White House today, and it's also Pride weekend. So one of those events is about nations, and one's about identities. One's about belonging to a country, and one's about belonging to yourself. But common symbol, of course, is the flag. Colored cloth, yes, but people marshal their forces under them. They fight wars under them. For the things they believe in, they're willing to go to battle for them. I never pledge when I'm at an event. I go to events all the time, and we are supposed to stand up and say the pledge. I just don't pledge allegiance to a flag. I just can't bring myself to say this piece of cloth. No. I'm quirky that way, I suppose. But what a flag does say is this is who we are, where we belong, what we value, and I pledge allegiance to that. I share like those values, but when it comes down to pledging to a flag, I just can't do it. A pride flag also says I exist, I belong, I refuse to hide. So I'm talking today about flags, not just the ones that we see on poles, but our invisible flags that we carry around the world. So why do people make flags? There's a whole discipline called vexillology. Vexillology is the study of flags. Comes from the Latin vexillum, which means flag or banner. And so these vexillologists study why people like behaviors associated with flags. Every flag kind of answers the question of who we are. Every nation answers it differently. Bhutan with their dragon and jewels has a different answer than Rwanda with their blue sky. Every organization, even cities have flags, right? Oh, gee, I thought I put the Springfield flag up there. We recently, remember in 2021, we adopted a new city flag here in Springfield. We had one that had red, white, and blue. It said Springfield, Missouri, no comma, which drives me crazy as an English teacher. But now we've got a baby blue flag. It's got a compass rose with a crown on top and 3 stars that represent different things. And there was a big fight about whether we were going to adopt that flag or stay with the old flag. They found that very few people even knew we had a flag. So
Yeah, I didn't know.
now we've got one that is kind of a better flag according to vexillology principles. So I have a question for all of you. If you had to design a personal flag, what would be on your flag?
That's a good question.
Yeah, Susan says that's a good question. Think about it at home too. What color would your flag be? Would you pick your favorite color, or would you have a color that's meaningful because we recognize blue means fidelity, pink means femininity, purple means royalty? There are certain color associations, right? So, anybody here have a color they would use on a personal flag?
Well, in 1980s,
Oh, thank you.
well, 1986, whenever Case and International merged to the farm machinery company, I got to thinking, and I said, if they was going to have a flag to represent the two dominant companies going together, I would pick red, white, and orange,
Oh, interesting.
because the old Case tractors
Red,
was orange,
orange.
and red and white had been a dominant international color for years.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
I
you
thought,
gave this some thought.
so I give it some thought that if they was going to make a flag representing the two companies, that's the colors that it should be.
Would you be like most tricolor flags and have them equal, or would you have one color bigger? Would they be vertical or horizontal? Did you think about that?
I thought that since Jerome Case come out about the time that the McCormick family come out with the internationals,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about the same time in history. So if I was going to make a flag, I would want all the colors to be equal size.
Yeah. Interesting. So some thought goes into these kinds of decisions, whether you're making a real flag or you're kind of envisioning your personal flag. Dwayne, do you have in mind what kind of flag you might have? And also think about what symbols you might put on your flag. What would you put on your flag, Dwayne?
I don't have any idea.
No thoughts? I'd be interested to hear from Wendy. My guess is you wouldn't even make a flag, would you? Except you're a beautiful seamstress, so maybe you would.
Well,
Pass that.
this is asking if you would make a flag.
Yeah.
So, I think that it would be lavender and light blue.
Yeah.
And not any symbology there. Just I like those two colors together.
Yeah.
And then it would depict the movement of flying or dancing, and so that I would want it to feel like that, whether it's birds or something else, wings.
And that would be kind of reified by the motion of the flag in the sky. It sounds lovely. Yeah. Susan's like, no flag. Don, what would your flag be?
I'm self-formulating an idea, but
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to my mind is the infinities flag.
Oh yeah. The
The
infinity.
infinity signal, because that is an all-inclusive, an all-inclusive symbol that that you can fit anything into.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be a central feature. So that's as far as I've got.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And the thing about a flag is it's a symbol that we can rally behind. So often it's a military standard, it's a martial symbol that we fight for. And I don't think people in this room I'm looking at aren't scrappers. You probably will fight for what you believe in, but we're not looking for like that. We're here because we look for love. But it's I think the hard thing about a flag is separating it from that military use, going into battle and capture the flag and stuff like that. When we talk about flags, note we had the infinity symbol, we had the beautiful pastel colors. They're all different. We all kind of have our own idea of what we do, and that's diversity, right? That's the beautiful thing when you are outside the UN and you see all those flags. Just you're struck by how many
Just
different.
had something pop in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Flag.
Pass that to
Oh,
Wayne.
here you go. You have to turn it on.
Gotta make sure you can be heard.
I just had an idea pop in my mind about a personal flag.
Yeah.
We talk about love. I visualized a red heart on a blue background.
Oh, pretty. Why red and blue?
Well, red, just because hearts are often shown in red, and blue is my favorite color.
Well, there you go. And it's your flag. So yeah. So what makes a good flag? That's a good question. This North American Vexillological Association has 5 principles that make a good flag. And think about that Rwanda flag. We felt that was an improvement, the new from the old. Here's maybe why. The vexillological principles say that a flag should be simple. A child should be able to draw it, they say. The most powerful flags are the simplest. Think of the flag of Japan. Either way, really, it's a simple thing. Simple, clear, recognizable. And the principle is that you should be able to know what it's about from a distance. Whereas the old Springfield, Missouri flag said Springfield, Missouri, no comma. You have to be kind of close to see all those letters on a flag, right? You can kind of figure out what it is from a distance, but something like a maple leaf, that's recognizable from quite a ways. Spiritually speaking, a lot of us add, when we think about the self, we just add layers and roles and expectations. And if you think about our flag as representing ourselves, becoming ourselves sometimes means peeling away layers of expectation from others and simplifying. Simple, yes.
When you say what makes a good flag, I guess it would depend upon the purpose for me of the flag. So one that, to spark patriotism, to spark, we belong to this,
Yeah.
then simple would be better. But, I was just thinking, if we got together and everybody had made their own flag, and when we got together so that we were together, but we were showing our individuality, I don't think simple would be. I don't know. It would seem to me to express individuality, there's going to be such a diversity and so much going on. So to me, it just depends, what the purpose of the flag is.
Yes, and also we might want to fly a red flag one day and a blue flag the next day. Like we don't want to be bound. Yeah, I was looking at the flag of Turkmenistan, which is mostly green and it has a moon and stars, like so many Islamic nations have. But down the left side, it has 5 different carpet designs because they make carpets there, and the carpets are from each tribe. So that is not a simple flag design, but it's a beautiful flag. So that goes against the North American Vexillological Association. I did want to quote Henry David Thoreau, who wrote in Walden, "Simplify, simplify." Kind of agreeing with the American Vexillological Association that simple is more fundamental and better. And so he wrote these words, simplify, simplify, and his friend Ralph Waldo Emerson said, one simplify would have sufficed. So Thoreau was not very simple because he repeated it, right? Our lives are frittered away with detail. Simplify, simplify. And then Emerson says, one's enough. One simplify. American Vexillological Association says, use meaningful symbols so everything means something and nothing is random. So every symbol tells part of the story. And likewise, we all kind of carry symbols, whether they're scars or tattoos. That's really relevant to our conversation. A lot of people, that's their flag, right? When they get a tattoo of something, that's the symbol they've chosen as their kind of personal flag. Then we've got talents and experiences. We've lost things that are our unique things that we've lost. We've got our own passions and our own stories. So the question isn't whether we have symbols, but whether we, know how to read them and how we feel about displaying them, right? Wendy has a thought.
Okay, so I'm not a big person on having tattoos. It's not that I think people should have tattoos, but when I met Dawn, I had been kind of just following Spirit, getting rid of everything the Spirit said go here, and then I went there, and my children were all grown, and I was on my own, and so I meet Don, and he is a retired scientist Presbyterian.
Oh,
And I'm, but I looked at his tattoo and I said, there may be more to this guy than.
Well, what's his tattoo? Do we need to show the people at home?
Tell about you.
It's on his left butt cheek.
I have to understand this is before I knew better.
Yeah. We've got a candidate for office in Maine who would say the same thing.
I was about 16, I think, and my stepbrother was 17. And he decided that it would be nice if I had a tattoo. So he tried to write Don on my arm. So he took a sewing needle and wrapped some thread around the tip of it, dipped it in India ink, and began to poke at my arm. And his artistic ability was lacking. So I've been trying to hide it since.
Oh,
It says docs. Let's see it,
get that covered.
It reads more like docs than it does Don.
It's on his
Oh,
arm.
Yeah.
I like that though. That
Let's
is
see.
unique.
Turn around, buddy. Oh, yeah.
Homemade tattoo.
Yeah.
So
I would like to have it removed, but
you need to have it covered with a Wendy, right? A nice pink and lavender Wendy.
Yeah, making live.
With the wave design.
Moving right along.
Moving right along. So thanks for showing that to us. You ever notice when people have multiple tattoos, they often have a special one. It's like, really, I saw a woman yesterday with lots of ink, and she had these blackberries that were kind of her special thing, and that's what she wanted to talk about, even though she had a lot of, if she had a flag, probably put blackberries on it instead of the other designs that she had with it. It's simple, kind of get something specific across. Our American vexillologists say you should use few colors, not a ton. Likewise, a meaningful life often encompasses, puts forward a few core values. Maybe a person is all about compassion or honesty or creativity. If you think about the people in your lives, I think they've got one color that stands out more than the others. If you look at colors like this, for me, I think creativity would be a leading color. Motherhood, very involved with my children, and for you, it might be justice, or it might be, yeah.
That's one thing that I have a reservation about flags is they tend to separate. They tend to point out differences rather than similarities.
Yeah.
And we need to guard against that.
Yeah, we do need to guard against division. But also at Pride, we saw lots of people who were just really happy to have a flag that said intersex, or gay man, or there's a drag flag. There are flags for everybody, and people kind of loved being under that banner that day. Maybe they don't go through their whole life just being about all that and nothing else, but that day felt pretty good for people to not be divided, but to be united and recognize each other. But a flag can do both. Kind of like that word cleave. You know that word cleave? There's a meat cleaver that cuts things in half, but we can cleave together, which means it's a word that kind of means its own exact opposite. And that's what a flag is. It cleaves us both those ways. That was deep stuff, people at home.
Well, on
Yeah, go for it.
I worked in the agriculture. I worked in the ag industry most of my life, and one company that really you can spot those flags a mile away, and that's John Deere.
Yeah.
It's always red, green, and yellow.
Yeah.
You can
The equipment
I can-
is green too.
I can spot one of those symbols, flags or symbols, a mile away.
Yeah. Tractors are kind of that way. They don't come in just a rainbow of colors. John Deere is green, and International Harvester is orange, right?
Yeah.
And they stick dog it into some colors, which is interesting.
And Massey Ferguson is red, and
yeah. Kubota, is that orange?
Kubota is orange, and then there's Ford. Ford is no longer a tractor company. New Holland took them over, and Ford, New Holland, International Cave,
Yeah.
and Heston is all owned by G&H Industrial now, so it's the second largest ag company in the world.
It's interesting to talk about tractors because these colors really matter to people who are tractor people, right? They are faithful to the company. Okay, back to our American. Go ahead.
Well, I just say there's one element of a flag that a flag can be a real easy way to remind people about being afraid, being subservient, being whatever. I know I studied a lot of time the tools and everything of mind control, how you control other people, and that's one of them. I mean, you look at the swastika
Mhm.
And, that originally wasn't a negative symbol, but you look at that and I don't know, even though I try to keep my mind in a good place, there's a little bit of that fear surfaces so they can be used to control masses to, keep people in their place, reminding them they're powerless or whatever.
Flag Day is kind of complicated for me this year. We've got this big fight happening on the White House lawn, and it's also the president's birthday. And the flag is, anybody else remember 1976? How fun it was, the whole bicentennial thing. It went all year. I remember people saying, "Oh, I'm so tired of this," but playfully tired. There was a lot of fun stuff happening, great fireworks displays, and I kind of liked it. I was 7, but I thought it was really fun. And my kids, they don't even know it's the 250th. I just kind of hope I live to the 300th so I can have fun again. But right now it's super complicated, I think. And the flag is kind of tied up in that. Yeah, you have a thought?
I was not feeling very patriotic this year.
Yeah.
And I decided,
Oh, we're making Dee take the
yeah,
microphone for our friends at home.
thank God. I was not feeling very patriotic this year. And I like to decorate for all seasons
Yeah.
and holidays. And I decided that I'm not going to give my power away. And so I got out the red, white, and blue yesterday.
Oh, you
And
did.
I'm glad I did because it's just, I'm not going to give that part of my power away
Yeah.
for things I enjoy and things I believe in.
Yeah. And you don't want to give up your country
No,
to forces that are that would do others harm. So
true.
if you completely see the symbol, then that's not your symbol anymore. And it's like that should be the symbol. It's complicated. Let's just leave it at that. So I love that you took your own power and did whatever you damn well wanted to do, which is what we should all be doing, right? Whether you feel like waving the flag or you feel like not, you gotta do what you want to do. Our vexillologist friends also say a good flag doesn't have words. And you remember how the R on Rwanda hit you a little extra, right? It wasn't a fabulous flag with a big capital R on it. Also, not everybody has the same alphabet or an alphabet at all. And a symbol, that bird of paradise or that dragon, everybody recognizes that. Not everybody knows what an R is, or that it's an sound, or that it stands for Rwanda, or these other words. So you lose some people when you rely on words. But also, spiritually speaking, I keep making this connection between these flag principles. Spiritually, people learn who we are from how we live and not the words we use. And I'm a word person. I think words are important, and I always fight against these claims when people say words don't teach. It's like, well, they teach me. I reject that almost entirely. But we're about more than words. We're about expression. Bumper stickers can tell you what somebody values, but it's not your personality, and labels not your soul. St. Francis of Assisi supposedly said, "Preach the gospel at all times. If necessary, use words." So that tells you something, right? Words only go so far. They can be pretty empty if actions don't follow them. And the fifth principle for the vexillological, such a hard word for me. Why did I do this talk today? Be distinctive. A good flag should not look like everybody else's flag. That's why Rwanda had to use the R, because Guinea had the same flag, right? Be distinctive when you're watching the Olympic parade. And boy, it's fun to watch it with my son Ernie, who knows every flag in every world flag. He's like, oh yeah, that's this country, that's that country, that's Afghanistan, that's Tajikistan. But a good flag should not look like all the other flags. It should have its own appearance. If every nation's flag were identical, it wouldn't be unity that resulted. It would just be confusion, right? So difference creates meaning and beauty, and it gives you information. So flags should do that. So nature also agrees, right? You know, two snowflakes are alike. I don't think that's actually true. They've found, but they're all pretty different from one another. Fingerprints all differ, leaves, voices. So God also didn't mass produce souls, did not mass produce people. We're all different. And beautiful. So lots of religious traditions comment on uniqueness, and so do philosophies. Judaism's Mishnah teaches a human ruler stamps many coins from one mold, and they all come out alike. But the Holy One creates every person from the same original, and no two are alike. So this Jewish holy text says humans make coins, stamp them out, they're all the same. The divine stamps us out, and miraculously we're all different. So difference is evidence of divine creativity. Islam, the Quran says, we made you into nations and tribes so that you may know one another. Which I love. It's not so we can fight one another under our flags, not so we tolerate and defeat one another, but so that we know one another. It's an invitation to relationship existing here. Yeah.
What are the,
Here I come.
Thanks, Steve.
I mentioned another catchy phrase the other day. I saw it in large boxcar letters. I am unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah, right. But it's true, isn't it? That's great. Hinduism in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, better one's own path imperfectly followed than another's path perfectly followed. So to go your own way on your own rocky path is so much better than just traveling the interstate, right? Better to live an authentic life than a perfect and flawless imitation of somebody else's life. Buddhism, Buddha's final instruction, he actually had a lot of final instructions. He had a final, I think there were 8 final instructions, but this is always credited to them. Be a lamp unto yourselves, a lamp, not a copy, but a lamp unto the world to illuminate. Mind if we take a poem break? Got a poem by one Dwayne Cobbler. A realization while meditating on divine order. Dwayne, would you like to read it? Or you want me to read it? All right.
Go ahead.
I think I want to hear Dwayne read it. What do you guys think?
Dwayne.
But you gotta give me the original. Here comes your microphone.
Yeah, we don't want to miss a word.
That's right.
Okay, I wrote this in February of 1997. And again, the realization while meditating on divine order. Thank you, God, for breath that flows so gently through my mouth and nose, for constant working deeply inner, creating new me from today's dinner, for lightning flashes in my brain that help me love, give thanks, heal pain. It's also wondrous, marvelous, uplifting, the myriad parts so finely gifted, amazing organs, bone, and tendons too, divinely created, a gift from you.
Very good.
That's absolutely beautiful. And it's all about being a unique creation who even takes dinner and turns it into like the unique self. I love that. And as a poem, Don could tell you, that's very specific, and that makes a poem good, right? When your details are specific like that.
There's no two ways, there's no better way of getting an emotion across than setting it in verse.
Yeah.
There's just no way, and
Yeah.
I was something to put at the end of that. If you can set it to music, it's even better.
Yeah. Don's saying there's no better way to get emotion across than a poem. So that's a flag. That's a unique expression. So thank you for that. Christianity, to get back to the world's religions, Paul says there are a variety of gifts, but the same spirits. And that's true. The body needs eyes and ears and hands and feet. Diversity is not a problem for the spirit. It's how the spirit operates. Right? Now, I happen to love our church. We often talk about the Fillmores and those folks, but I love the fact that we're kind of linked to transcendentalism. We're linked to that very American thought tradition, like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, who I mentioned already. And Ralph Waldo Emerson is a spiritual cousin. Oh, we have to clap because they broke something in the kitchen. Emerson wrote a kind of a famous work called Self-Reliance. Hey, Susan, could you be quieter in there? Okay. Sure. People at home appreciate the sentiment. But Emerson said, nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. And trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. These transcendentalists were really into the importance of the self and the identity. God will not have his work made manifest by cowards. That reminds us of the kind of martial use of the flag. I ought to go upright and vital and speak the rude truth in all ways. Does that remind you of a flag? I have to go upright and vital and speak the truth in all ways. It kind of reminds me of a flag. So, and here, you know what? We're going to take a little break. People at home, I'll be right back. I'll put a link here.
Might as well close the door too.
All right. We're back. Okay. One of my favorite comments by Emerson, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And that kind of reminds me of that whole flag thing we've been talking about. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. So unity. So think about unity's view of individuality. Unity has a tension in it. On the one hand, there's only one presence and one power. In the universe and in my life, that's good. On the other hand, that one life expresses itself through infinite forms, like sunlight through stained glass. There's one light that's broken into many different colors. So the blue pane doesn't produce red light, right? Each pane reveals an aspect of light. Charles Fillmore described each person as an individualized expression of divine mind, not a copy, but an expression of the divine mind. And unity spirituality does not ask us to erase our individuality, but to align it, to not have smaller selves, but truer selves. The acorn becomes itself by becoming fully an oak. The rose by becoming fully a rose. The spiritual journey requires us to be fully ourselves and not someone else. So it's becoming fully what God planted within. Talked a lot about pride flags. I'm going to talk about that now. But suffice it to say, here in Unity, something really beautiful about the growing family of pride flags is that they illustrate a spiritual paradox. We often think we have to choose between unity and individuality, but that's not how nature works. A garden is unified because it has many kinds of flowers, right? An orchestra is unified because it has all the instrumentation. A rainbow is unified because it has all the colors, and all the colors. We might have a 7-color flag, a 6-color flag, the current flag that we have, but every color comes out of that rainbow. Pride flag tradition reminds us that belonging does not require sameness. In unity language, we might say, there's one divine life expressing itself in infinitely diverse ways. The rainbow flag celebrates the spectrum. Each pride flag celebrates a particular expression within the spectrum. And together there's a vivid spiritual lesson. Difference is not the opposite of unity. Difference is one of the ways unity expresses itself. Okay. So in conclusion, every flag answers the question, who are we? The spiritual life asks, who am I? And unity offers a beautiful answer. You're not a mistake, right? The t-shirt says, and I always get a compliment when I wear this, you are exactly who you should be, right? You're not a duplicate. You're not an afterthought. You're a unique expression of infinite life. The universe doesn't need copies. It needs the particular way spirit shows up in you and as you. So we have the courage to raise our colors. And I hope that together we can celebrate the astonishing diversity of God's creativity and let our freak flags fly. And that's that. Got some announcements for you. Somebody be willing to read the announcements? Your mom will? Okay.
You just got volunteered.
Where's our microphone?
Oh, yes. You might need that.
All right. Stand right here.
Good morning. Everyone is invited this evening and every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. for meditation. Next Sunday, we will welcome Paul Day back to our platform as our guest speaker. Paul has dedicated his life to education, service, and spiritual growth. We are blessed and grateful that he shares his wisdom with us. Next Sunday, join us at 9:15 for our New Thought adult education class with Amy Burnett. You can join in person or watch live on our Facebook page.
No subject. No subject, though.
No subject. No. The Conscious Collective is inviting everyone to a special solstice community event next Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. here at the church. Come celebrate the season with community, connection, and fun. There will be a variety of activities to include a drum circle and yard games. Bring your own lawn chairs and a snack to share, and gather together to honor the summer solstice. Everyone is welcome. The next community through music summer concert will be on June 27th at 7 p.m. The performers will be Cindy Edwards, Slim Stanley, and Eric Briano. Bring your lawn chairs and your friends and come enjoy some great local musicians. This is a free event. In 2027, we will celebrate a major milestone, our 10th annual Planet Unity Earth Day celebration, happening April 16th and 17th. Over the past decade, this event has grown into a community tradition that brings people together to honor our planet through education, music, food, and fun. As we prepare for our biggest celebration yet, we need your ideas and support. One of the keys to a successful event is securing sponsors who share our vision of environmental stewardship. Please join us for a brainstorming meeting on Tuesday, June 30th at 5:30 p.m. As we explore creative ways to attract more event sponsors, whether you have business connections, fundraising experience, or simply great ideas, your input is welcome and appreciated. Do I do the prayer of protection? No. Okay. Thank you and have a lovely day.